guys.
so, so who are you guys? And I heard some hype that you were going to be the new Facebook or something like that. So, but who are you guys?
Basically, we're co-founders of Newline Software.
And so what's your names?
My name is Corey Gill.
Yep.
I'm Marius Nika.
Okay. And what is Newline? It's a new company, right? We haven't seen what you guys are doing yet, right?
We're still in stealth mode. So both Marius and I left Microsoft to founded the company in July of 2008. So we've been working on the product as well as closing a funding round, which we had a news article in Business Journal and Tech Flash on some of the funding that we did. We did a Series A, friends and family.
That was just recently, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we closed that. The initial closing on that was January 23rd.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was
one of the few companies.
The day after Microsoft laid off 1,400 people, we actually got some investments, which was we're very fortunate and humbled by the environment and the willingness of people to help us with our company.
And this is a friends and family round, not a VC or angels. So it's tough. We have to work for every.
Well, it's good that you have some friends with some money left in their pockets.
A few people.
Because that's not happening as much.
A few people pulled through, and a few people pulled back, but everyone supports us. So.
And surprised us with I guess larger than expected amounts. So yeah, we did quite well.
So when are we going to start seeing your product, or service? I mean,
a couple months we'll have the beta. We're rolling up on that time.
And can you give us a little sneak peek of what it's going to do and why I'm going to pay attention to you guys?
So we're going to be the pioneers in eco-digital preservation, which is different from traditional backup and restore. We looked at the existing offerings of what's out there, and we basically just said that for our data, we need to do it ourselves because the stuff that's out there, the competing products, don't meet all of our needs. And
give me a sense of what they don't do. Don't give me all your secrets before you ship a product, but
yeah, I guess in one essence, a great way is if you have a machine and you have it all backed up, you lose the machine, you buy an identical one, and you do a restore. If you were to actually compare the two machines, they're different, and they're different in ways that matter to us and will matter to a certain class of people. Some people may not notice or care about some of the differences. And there's some other...
the sound card could be a little different, or the networking
it's
card.
It's mainly the contents of some of the files. That we found some problems with. And some of this is, we're also utilizing, I've worked on Windows prior to at Microsoft.
Yeah. What do you do there?
The last position there was development manager for the Windows logo program.
Okay. And
before that was several years sustaining Windows. So I know Windows internals, and half the time you have these educated, this gut feel on, I'll bet you this is happening, and sure enough it is. And these are the things that kind of disturb us and go, we can do this better. Yeah. And offer a better service to customers. That's why we created Newline Software.
Very cool. So you got your funding. You're coming out in a couple months.
Yeah.
And where are we gonna? What's your URL? Where are we gonna be able to watch for information? Do you have a blog or something that'll like an RSS feed that we can subscribe to, so we can be among the first to know?
ZeroXDA.com.
Okay.
That's the 0XDA. I've had a few people ask about that. That's the basically the ASCII code for carriage return line feed, or a new line.
Yeah.
So we like the name, and right now the website doesn't have much. We're pretty much in stealth mode, and when we have something to release, we'll unveil everything and open up the beta.
Yeah.
And do that.
Tell me about the space you're located, because you're in a pretty interesting space here.
Space is pretty good.
Peter's over here.
Lured us into this green building, and we had some discussion on budgeting, but there is opportunities around beyond just price per square footage here in this building that we like a lot, and we see partnership with Peter in the future, and has everything ready made, which is move in any office tomorrow if you want to have a business and have it started. Then one major winning point, yes, there is a green aspect, and we didn't know that like you were coming or some other people come and buy it. But there is also the fact that you don't have to get locked in some huge lease. You're a startup. You don't know if you're going to survive the first round of funding. So to get into a 3-year lease agreement, just doesn't work out for startups. When
Yeah, and the other match for us again, we're trying to establish a new term in the industry of eco-digital preservation, and part of the eco is economic friendly as well as environment friendly.
Yeah.
So the natural match with the Thinkspace building, Peter would know more about all the LEED certification and the definitely the carpets and the glues. None of the stuff stinks.
Yeah.
You can't even tell when it's been repainted. So just the lesser impact on the environment. So being in a building that supports that, as well as our product is going to do some things that are interesting that will to kind of show some of the ways we're cutting down, carbon emissions. These other things are things to look at.
Very cool.
So we're conscientious about those. So to be here is great. And from a startup perspective, we can have one office, two offices. Depending on the needs, we can tear down part of a wall if the other one's available and expand.
but at least please Peter promised that.
Yeah, there's a charge for tearing down a wall, I think, but
Yeah. But I've been in other co-location spaces, and a lot of times you're in an open space where other companies are right next to you in a cube, and you don't have quite the privacy you have
Yeah,
here.
No, this is great. Then you come down. There's a reception. There is some
the shared services
image of the whole space, and there's somebody waiting for you there. Conference rooms. I mean, if you try to get a regular space, you have to allocate some space for a conference room. We get that here. We don't have to pay for that.
Yeah.
So that's for us. Starting out, that was one of the motivators was having a space
cool.
that worked for what we needed and would scale as we scale. So.
Yeah. What is it about the Seattle area? Because I've been seeing a ton of great startups this week.
There's a lot out there. We're following some of the blogs that are out there on the startup scene, and there's people out there still getting funding. It's I think in general, companies that maybe thought they're going to come out at 10 or 20 million are being valued at 5 or 6 or 10 million. The valuations are down, but they're still the best ones are still getting funded.
Yeah.
And I think no matter what the economy does, we're going to move forward, and that's where the businesses who are smart and that a recent posting, one of the requirements was to get funded, you just have to show a revenue model that would produce profits within 8 months.
Yeah.
It says, if you show me you can make profits in 8 months, we'll get funding every month up to 8 months, and and these are the ones. So I think the high flyers, the what ifs, a little harder to come by.
Yeah.
So
But
maybe there is more hope in Seattle, I guess, in having companies. I mean, we're always happy at Microsoft, but there is this idea is that you keep brewing on them and thinking what could be if you start doing them, and we could, if we survive this, and we can say, look, we survived the crash of 2008, and we're still in business. So we had pleasant surprises along the way that we were not able to expect if we just stayed at our previous jobs. And again, I love Microsoft, but
I mean, you were Microsoft. Part of the product thing was if I can't sell you the idea that we can sell something to 100 million people, well, the idea just dies on the floor.
Yeah.
And
even some of the ideas for 100 million people died on the floor, right?
and part of our premise is like, man, there's 30 different people at Microsoft that all have a $5 million idea.
Yeah.
It's not big enough for Microsoft, but so here we are.
Well, and the other problem is like Facebook. When I was at Microsoft, Facebook was just getting started, and they wouldn't pay attention to it because they didn't think it was a big idea. Now it is.
43 million or something. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever the valuation is for
just for 1.4% of the Facebook.
Yeah, and the trouble is, you guys are startups some of them create doubling pennies, right? And it doesn't seem that important for the first 20 days, or the first 20 doubles, right?
Yeah.
But, then it starts kicking double 23, double 24, double 25, and all of a sudden you're starting to talk real money and real amounts of users, and and big companies just don't see things until day 25, when it's so obvious that
but
something
maybe
is
they have bigger things to take care of, right? And we still cater
so
to every
that's,
dollar, every.
That's where we feel there's some verticals that we're working on that we believe aren't being serviced the way they should. So some of these customers will see a great benefit by our software, and I think there's still room for people to play here, and there's still a lot of emerging areas that we still don't even know about today. I mean, saw some news articles today about even Twitter maybe being a better news source than Google when something happens fast. You know,
Yep.
if it takes 3 or 4 hours for something to get indexed, and you know, you might
The,
just find a
I knew the Chinese earthquake 45 minutes before CNN reported it.
yeah.
Right?
So these types of things.
Now that might not seem important, but it is important in the aggregate. You know, put it all together, because you're seeing things, you know, before the rest of the world
Yeah,
does.
so find the right way to get the signal, the noise to where you want to see it, and all this. I mean,
Yeah.
there's, you know, 5 years ago, we wouldn't even have thought about this probably.
Yeah.
So we're still seeing revolutionary changes, I think. And
So you asked about seeing some stuff. We are, like Corey said, in stealth mode. We did release some free software for a select group of beta customers, and hey, if you share an email address with us, that you might receive some private communication. We could include you in that,
Okay.
and you'll get some updates that we have for this group of people. Most of them are our investors and some friends. We have a lot of friends that help us, and good advisory board and that we put together, and yeah, we're not just alone. So
Is the advisory board all here in Seattle, or are they all over the world?
Well, mostly in the Seattle area, but
Oh.
yeah, people that
That's really why Silicon Valley and why Seattle and Israel are so hot, isn't it? It's the expertise, and it's the ecosystem around there that has, you know, Microsoft has been kicking off, you know, smart people
yeah,
for a long
spin off
time,
of some of the knowledge
and Amazon's just down the street, and
yeah.
But
yeah.
imagine
Real and-
yeah, correct. You're at Microsoft. You like your job. They don't want to leave your job, but then you want to use your brain a little bit more. Then people can pull you in. Hey, help me with this, and they might give you half an hour a week. But it's a great resource to have.
Yeah, I think part of what you touch on is just what is the community that's available. You know,
Yeah.
if I was in, I don't want to pick out a Midwest place, but there's potentially you wouldn't have, you know, these user groups with 100 or 1,000, you know, programmers in it.
Yeah.
Here you can have those meetings, and there's several of them.
Yep.
So just the community.
No, we could-
and you know the internet's
we
great.
could start a Twitter meeting at the Crossroads Mall here and have
Yeah.
50 people there, no
Yeah,
problem,
but
you know.
some of the things still, I think you get some of the best ideas, you know, in person, and then going through some things like this, and that's where having probably the proximity just helps with the speed of idea and conveying ideas, you know, properly. And yeah, so we're gracious to have the.
Well, good luck to you guys. It's always
Okay.
fun to watch two guys and see if they can make their dreams happen. Because I know you pitched Peter and said you were going to beat Facebook, right? That's a big dream.
Hello, Peter.
That's 170 million people now, you know.
Thanks for coming by. I mean,
Yeah.
in appreciation for your visit, we'll guarantee your next 3 interviews for free when you're gonna go big and busy. Right?
Very cool.
Just call in. Hey, I took an interview with these guys, and
Yeah.
we'll let you in without
Yeah, we hope-
bypassing
we
all the
hope to be,
corporate hurdles.
We
Well,
hope,
thanks.
we hope to be very successful, and you know, it doesn't have to necessarily measure that by the size of everything, but
Yeah.
Our goal is to have
Appreciate it.
this good product, and
yeah, the engineering comes first for us. As, you know, we have some philosophies that are different from where we came from, and we're bringing those here.
Like Microsoft. Yeah, marketing comes first, right?
Yeah.
Which is funny because everybody thinks Microsoft has good marketing, and I don't think
They
they
have
do.
good- we're a Microsoft shop here. We have a lot of their software
Yeah.
and menus, and they have good programs to use. And
Yeah.
we still have the original need, and we started with having a need to have the pictures and files home backed up and protected properly.
Yeah.
We're still working to have that.
Well, that's getting worse. I'm using a $200 camera that does HD video. You know, you need to back it up, and
Yeah.
it's hard to move this stuff around. You know. So.
Yeah, there's some of that. So we're working on some interesting things that will allow you to do some unique things in that space to,
Okay.
to deal with that.
Very cool.
And we're also working for some of the, you're on the road a lot. You know, maybe you're not at home to plug in to a cradle, this type of stuff. There's some things we can do. You know, as you know, then one of the big cost drivers is just bandwidth.
Yep.
And how do you manage the bandwidth? How do you not exceed your Comcast limit or whatever?
750 gigabytes.
It varies. You know, you can't tell what you've used so far, but they'll let
Oh,
you
they know.
Yeah.
I had a friend
They'll
get
let
kicked
you know.
off, and somebody at Comcast said that he used 750 gigabytes.
Yeah, so then you're blacklisted for 6 months. But
Must
we
be
do have
fun.
some ways to work around this.
Yeah, very cool. And so we get it at oxda.com, right?
Yeah, 0xda.com.
0xda. Sorry, it's
Yeah.
a zero. 0xda.
It's a zero. Yeah, that's a.
Yeah.
It's one of our taglines. You know, it's a 0.
Very cool.
If it's down, that means we got slashed out. It were
Yeah,
20. It were.
I'll only send you 20 people, so don't worry about that. Put it up on Amazon so they can keep up with the scale. Right?
All right, we appreciate you coming by. Thanks
Well,
a lot.
thank you.